People tend to overcomplicate setting up your recruiting business. These days, with all the tools that we have available, you should be able to launch your own recruiting business over the weekend. If you've been thinking this might be a week-long or months-long process of gathering documents and setting everything up, it's not. So in this video, I'll boil down to 3 main things you need to start your own recruiting business. And the first is your niche. Imagine you go to one of those restaurants that has like a book for their menu. Like they plop down the menu and you're like, this is like 8 pages. When I see that, I automatically think, no way can this one restaurant make every single dish on all these 8 pages equally well. However, when you go into a fine dining restaurant and they give you a 1-page menu, if these are the only dishes they make, they're probably great at it. So similarly, we want to be that specialist, and the hiring managers will absolutely feel the same way. When they get your message on LinkedIn, they see your website, they see your LinkedIn profile, things I'll be talking about in a moment, and they see that this is all that you do. They're like, okay, this person's probably good at it. I get it, right? Like if you've been recruiting for a while, it can be hard to pick a lane to start because people tell me, John, I've worked across so many different verticals. I've filled so many different types of roles. I'm good at a lot of things. How can I pick one? This is a little bit easier for people who are non-recruiters. They have 5, 10, 15 plus years of their industry experience. So they're kind of like subject matter experts in their field. So obviously their niche would be what they've done their whole career and helping hiring managers find people like them. But generally speaking, if you're a recruiter, the way to help narrow down your niche is by really being a specialist and picking literally like 4 to 6 positions that you want to fill. To give you the general idea is you want to think about overlaying a bunch of circles, like a Venn diagram, where you overlap your background, your experience, your passion, the market demand, supply of available candidates. And in that kind of sweet spot that's overlapping, that's probably going to be a good niche for you. Yeah, put some thought into this so that way you don't want to launch your recruiting business and be a generalist. Very hard to get clients. And that's an easy way to kind of work in circles, spin your wheels, and feel like you're not getting anywhere because you're not. All right, so that's a niche. Number 2 is just setting up your business. Kind of basic administrative stuff. When you're launching your recruiting business and you have a niche, then the first thing you want to then think about is, okay, decide, am I doing this full time and launching publicly where I'm branded and I want the whole world to know I'm doing this? Or do you have a full-time job where you can't do that? So you have to do this part-time on the side and under the radar in what we call incognito mode. So first off, your LinkedIn profile. People overlook this all the time. When you reach out to a particular potential client, right? Imagine you reach out to a hiring manager at a company that you want to work with and they read your message, which should definitely be communicating your niche in the message. What are they going to do next? They're going to click on your name to be like, what, before I reply, who is this person reaching out to me? Who's this John guy? They're going to click on your name and then pull up your LinkedIn profile. So because that's the first thing they'll look at after your message, your LinkedIn profile needs to be optimized. People skip this, they rush it, they think they have it right, but it needs a lot of work for most people. So the main thing is that your LinkedIn profile should be optimized for one goal, which is attracting potential clients. If your LinkedIn profile even has your college on the very top of your headline, like that doesn't help convince a hiring manager why they should reply to you and take a call from you. In the about section, you should be talking about the placements you've made that are within your niche, right? However, if you have a full-time job, you can't be that loud on your LinkedIn profile. Otherwise, you're probably going to get a uncomfortable phone call from your boss saying, hey, what's this thing on your LinkedIn profile I see? So obviously you have to be more subtle. I did record an entire video on how to set up your LinkedIn profile in incognito mode, so I won't go over here, but I will link it at the end of the video. You do also want to set up your LinkedIn company page. That way, if a client or potential client's interested, they can take a look, and you want that to be optimized as well. So your LinkedIn profile, your message, and your LinkedIn company page should all be the same type of language. Lastly, the website. Again, these days with AI website tools, you can literally just tell the AI, type in like what you want the website to look like. Wix is great. They have professional templates preloaded. Again, the people spend way too long on the website. I've never ever heard of a client that we work with who said, hey, John, I was on a call with a hiring manager and they said, hey, I saw your website and that's why I wanted to reach back out. Like, 80% of the time, they don't ever look at your website. Because hiring managers are busy. They're slammed. They're putting out fires. So if they like your message, they'll click your name to see your profile. If they like your profile, that's usually all they go. That's as far as they go. They're like, all right, I like the message. Profile looks legit. This person looks like they probably know what they're talking about. Let me reply back. So the website, it's not a big needle mover. Just make sure it looks professional, clean, and do it over the weekend. Like force yourself, constraints are great. I love deadlines. In college, I was crammed right before every time a paper's due, and I got everything done like the day before because I just had to. So give yourself a hard deadline for setting up this stuff, and I promise it'll get done. People, again, make it such a big deal, which is a service agreement or the contract. I talk to people all the time who say, hey, I want to start a recruiting business, but I need the contract. That's the main thing I need. I'm like, no, it's not. The main thing you need is a client. It's not a huge thing and it's not that hard, but I want you to understand some principles of the components. So the components within the service agreement, I think, are important to understand. So first off, let's keep the service agreement simple. Ideally, 1 to 2 pages max. The reason why we want to keep it simple is we want to optimize the service agreement for getting it signed. People tend to put too much legalese into their agreements, and it's like 5 pages with all these terms. They're like, oh, I want to cover myself in this situation. I want to make sure I'm protected in this situation. The hiring manager will then say, okay, give me some time to have my legal team review it and my finance team review it. And then things get slowed down. You lost that client because you overcomplicated something that should have been super simple. A 1-pager that says, yes, I want to work with you and I will pay you 20% of your candidate's first year base salary if I hire them. The 3 main variables in the contract are, number 1, the fee. For example, you can say, well, our fees range from 20 to 30%, depending on the difficulty of the search. And then based on that, they can select the fee, agree to the fee on the call, and then you put down the agreed fee percentage in the contract or the agreement. I like using agreement. The word contract isn't like a nice, warm, and fuzzy word, so I use the word agreement. People like signing agreements. They don't like signing contracts. Then the next thing after the fee percentage is the guarantee. Typically, guarantees fall under the realm of a replacement guarantee or a refund guarantee. Our default agreement in the recruiting launch program is a 90-day replacement agreement that says if for any reason the candidate doesn't work out, we'll do a one-time good faith replacement at no cost. The last section in the contract is the payment terms. So typically in payment terms, we use the standard net 30, meaning 30 days after the candidate starts is when the invoice is due. Again, people nickel and dime this all the time. I want to do net 10, like not that big of a deal. It's important though to know these variables so that way when you're on the sales call with the hiring manager, you can adjust those variables accordingly and get them to verbally agree. And once you're on the same page, you just put that in writing, send it off, and it usually comes back signed right away. Having an automated client acquisition system is the very last thing. Back in the day, I felt like this was more of a nice to have, not a must have. But these days, in my opinion, and I feel strongly about this, is every successful recruiting business owner should have an automated way to prospect for new clients. Basically every day that goes out on autopilot. Because the biggest challenge people have when starting their own recruiting business is always getting clients. The best way we found to get clients is to reach out directly to them. And then the best way to reach out directly to hiring managers is by taking messages that you would normally send by hand, but just loading it into an automated sequence that goes out on autopilot. Things like LinkedIn automation, email automation. However, you have to do it correctly, warm it up, make sure that you're doing it within the correct safety limits. So there's a few things that are involved, but it's a must-have in my opinion, because you always want to keep the prospecting going. Even when you're busy with 5 clients and 20 job orders, you always want to have fresh blood coming in, because if you've been recruiting for a while, you know that the best job orders are the fresh ones that close fastest, not the stale job orders that's been open for 3 months that you're just still plugging away at, hoping that someday your client will hire them. In summary, we talked about kind of the main thing you need with setting up your recruiting business, right? Starting with a niche. So that way with the niche, your message on LinkedIn to a potential client, your LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn company page, and website are all in alignment. They all look and feel the same and professional. And when you do that, then that creates a strong resonance with hiring managers, and it increases dramatically the odds of them replying to you, wanting to jump on the call with you, and wanting to work with you. And we broke down how to set up your recruiting business, everything you need, the website. Again, you can do it all over the weekend. But because the vast majority of people that we come across want to start their own recruiting business while they keep their day job and doing it part-time on the side, quietly in what we call incognito mode. If that's you, then check out this next video where I break down exactly how to set up your LinkedIn profile in incognito mode, so that way it doesn't raise red flags with your current employer, while it's at the same time it's optimized to attract potential clients. So give that a watch, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, thanks for your time and attention. I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.